So if I brought the key in and you killed me, it's not in my secure container and you can't loot it. It literally ceases to exist. Nobody gets it. It's...
Who let Todd Howard?
Dude. It's crazy. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the progress things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I need to think of another name that is kind of like JesseKazam.
Yeah.
But isn't. I don't know. I can't think of anything. But what I do know is that this week's episode of the podcast is brought to you by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. If you go to hellofresh.com/50pogcast and use code 50pogcast, you'll get 50% off, plus free shipping.
Huge. W. Thank you, HelloFresh.
Gracias.
Gracias. What's up, man?
Oh, dude, I just spent the last 2 days playing fucking Starfield. Because, I mean, like, you can't have an opinion on the game unless you have 7 billion hours.
Yeah.
And I literally just hit the 30-hour mark.
And obviously, you're taking your video down, right? Because the game is just phenomenal.
Going from hour 6 to hour 30, it's worse than we thought.
Oh man,
it's actually just worse than we thought. I don't know if you want to talk about that now or after.
I mean, dude, we can talk about it now, man. We're freaking not a whole lot happened in Tarkov. We'll get to it, but it's funny. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to see the video?
I did. I watched the video. I watched the whole video.
Okay, so what did you think?
I have said this before that like your videos, and I've said it about myself as well. Like our videos are our best takes because they're the most thought out. We script our videos. Like it's, when you're streaming and you're having a hard time or somebody's asked you the same question, a lot of times you don't get the thing. So the video is always like the best of the best cream of the crop in the opinion. And yeah, it's funny because it's like, we talked about it on the last week's podcast. And then we also talked about it on the Patreon episode. By the way, shout out to PP, Patreon. Go look it up. Patreon.com/thepodcastpod. So like, obviously I knew a little bit going in, but it's just because we talked about like the comments and the hate and like all that stuff. And it's just so funny because the video is so like not out to yuck anyone's yum. It's like, dude, if you're having fun, whatever, but like, here's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? It's like, so I don't know. I thought the video was great. Like I watched the video and I was still like, I bet that like I could get enjoyment out of this game because I would, sometimes I just want that Bethesda. I just want to be running quests. Sometimes I just want an RPG. I'm playing so many first person shooters and just Tarkov all the time. So yeah, it's funny. I thought the video was great. I thought everything was hilarious. Because it's funny, like I said, I don't have an opinion on the game. I literally haven't played it. And so like, I've heard a lot of you talking about what you didn't like about Starfield, but to see all the footage, you know what I mean? Like the blind guy was so funny. You were like, I thought that they were being, dude, it's so funny because you were not at all like exaggerating that. He's just like, hey,
he did the,
and then,
who's the Ray Charles?
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. So like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like none of the criticism that I've seen has anything to do with any of the points.
Yeah, with the content of your video, with the points you made. It's just,
it was all inserting and fabricating reasons for why I disliked it. Either I would dislike it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe Bethesda games just aren't for me.
Yeah.
Ignoring the fact that they're amongst my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
That there were even some comments, like I had to Google this because there were like 2 or 3 separate people that kept saying I was one of the ponies. And I had to like I had no idea what the fuck they were referring to. Apparently, that's like a derogatory term towards like Sony ponies. I think like I must have been a PlayStation enjoyer, and I was just mad, even though I haven't
yes.
owned a console.
The man literally made a video. It comprised entirely of Starfield footage of him playing it. Must be mad he can't play it because he's got the wrong console.
I mean,
it is crazy the lengths people will go. It's crazy the lengths people will go to not watch a video they want to criticize.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the amount of time it took that dude to construct that comment and hit enter, he probably just could have watched half the video and been like, oh, he actually doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, and then the other thing, the other, you know, criticism was that I only played 5 hours, even though it actually ended up being like 7 hours.
Yeah.
But I don't, not that would have changed anybody's opinion.
Yeah,
although
it's crazy because like the first half of the video, the first probably legit half of the video, your criticism is of the opening to the story.
Yeah.
Like playing 50 hours doesn't change that I'm criticizing the first hour. Like, yeah, for sure. Maybe if I had beat the game, I would have seen a story beat that referenced the intro or whatever. But it's like, what you were criticizing for a huge part of it was the opening. Like, it's crazy. Like playing an additional 15 or 20 hours wouldn't have changed that. Especially since so few people spend that 20 hours. Like if you had said you had played 25, 30, 40 hours of the game, you would have gotten so many less of those comments. But you could have spent that 20, 30, 40 hours doing exclusively side quests, not engaging in the story at all. And everyone would have been fine with that. You know, it's just like, oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah, and there's three types of people. There are the people that say, well, you need to get further into the main quest line. Like that's where the story is.
Yeah.
Like people unironically telling me how to play the game.
Yeah.
The second group are the people that are saying, fuck the main storyline.
Yeah.
All of the enjoyment, all of the quality, all of the good stuff is in the side quests.
Yeah.
And then the other third of the people go, the quests are trash. The quests are garbage. It's all of the stuff in between.
That's hilarious. I love when that happens.
No matter what I do, it's all trash.
I love that. We've talked about that before in Tarkov 2, where like the unity is just hatred. We all hate different things. And if anybody questioned, like we're a group of 5,000 people, and if anybody questioned us, we would all disagree with each other. But right now, we just all agree your take is bad. And it's just so funny because like, exactly that. It's like, oh, well, the main story's stupid. Oh, no. Well, you have to play the main story. Oh, well, all the quests are terrible. And it's like, you guys are so crazy.
Yeah. So,
wow.
And there's a couple different elements too. The whole, like, this is an argument or a conversation that I couldn't possibly have on like Twitter or YouTube comments because it would just be, it would be a swamp.
Yeah.
It would be a cesspool, but I can have with you because you're reasonable. You know how when people make large sweeping comments as if like 2 + 2 = 4, this is a law or rule. How you can demonstrate that if you can show like one instance that is contradictory to the thing that they just said, it proves the thing they just said is not true, which should force them to like, they need to obviously rephrase the thing that they just said, right? Yeah. So people saying that you can't have an opinion on a game if you've only played 5 hours. Well, imagine a world where I download the game and every 10 seconds for 5 hours, the game launches, crashes.
Yeah.
Launches, crashes. Launches, blue screens. Launches, crashes. Am I supposed to assume that my next, you know what I mean? Like, I think that someone saying this fucking game is garbage, it's trash, whatever, right? Like going to whatever, it would be reasonable. You'd understand, like, okay, clearly they're having problems. Some other people. So that demonstrates that after 5 hours, there are situations where you could have an opinion about like what you feel about the game.
For sure.
if the game doesn't let me play it, it's a bad game.
Yeah.
So that's way on one extreme.
For sure.
So then it's all right, well, where's the line?
For sure.
Like, and for me, a game that within the first 5 hours does nothing but demonstrate a complete and utter lack of care, effort, and quality on every level, from the characters to the story to the dialogue to the quests to the blah 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 blah, then to me, like, that's in my criteria for a bad game.
Yeah.
If you can't show me anything remotely good, then it's not a good game.
Yeah. For sure.
Now, what I don't have to say is, in my opinion, because that's all people do is say their opinions, unless I'm talking to you about mathematical proofs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so weird that you have to say, societally, it's so weird you have to say, in my opinion. Of course, it's my opinion. I don't presume to be a guy who can speak objectively on pretty much any subject out there. So when I'm talking, it's just safe to assume what I'm giving you is my opinion.
Now, I would love to hear Jacob Geller or like The Closer Look or any of those people do like a proper character literary analysis breakdown of the intro.
Yeah.
And actually, one person did that on Skyrim, and it was like 6 months ago or 3 months ago. It's actually fairly recent.
Oh, interesting.
And it was like, bro, yes, like, I agreed with everything. He talked about the flaws in the story, in the narrative with the characters, and some the good things, the bad things. And I want someone else to do that for Starfield, that it knows a lot more than me about storytelling and narrative and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I am an amateur, but the average gamer, they don't spend their free time like watching video essays on
for sure
what makes bad dialogue and good dialogue in film, and you know what I mean? Like, so that's just something that I'm interested in, that stood out to me.
Yeah.
If you disagreed, that might be that you just either weren't paying attention, or you wouldn't know good or bad dialogue if it slapped you in the mouth.
Yeah.
Or it could be that I'm wrong and it's really good dialogue for some other reason. I would love for someone to point it out.
Or also, I just don't think it's crazy to think that there's a set of people that like really good dialogue or really bad dialogue completely does not change their opinion of a game. Right? Like there's just like, there's people that like obviously don't exist as like chronically on the internet, that just gave Starfield like an 8 out of 10, where if the intro had been like phenomenally written and scored, would have given it an 8 out of 10. Like, they're just like, they sit down, they play video game exclusively for the run and gun, for the quest, just mash A, every skippable cutscene, and then they have a good time. It's like, and that doesn't make you stupid for criticizing the writing of the game, and it doesn't make them stupid for not caring at all about the writing in the game. Like, everyone's opinion is correct there, because different things are more or less important to different people. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm baffled that all of the stuff that I've seen, Xbox Addict, which apparently is like a publication. I'm just looking at like the review scores. Gave it a 100 out of 100. IGN Spain, 100 out of 100. Washington Post, 100 out of 100. Yeah. Like, I can't. I wasn't taking them seriously beforehand.
Yeah. I put like no stock into that stuff anymore, dude, because it's crazy. Into those, like, the Washington Post. Like, it's funny, Joe. So I want to point this out because somebody said it in chat, and it is, it's a skill fan. He was like, it's like when you showed Jesse the stutter steps or freezes in Tarkov happening, and I didn't notice it until you showed me. It was like, nobody, like, at that moment, you couldn't have made the argument where I hadn't put enough hours into Tarkov yet, right? You couldn't have made the argument that I didn't enjoy Tarkov. You couldn't have made the argument that I wasn't viewing Tarkov with a critical eye, because there was none of those arguments you would have had a leg to stand on. And yet even still, even thousands of hours into the game and hundreds of hours of conversing with you about the game, I still had blinders on just because I'm me. I just never noticed. I was just playing the game and I just, you know what I mean? And it's like, so that's such a great analogy because it's like people play hundreds of games. They spend hundreds or thousands of hours playing games. And maybe some people just didn't realize how bad the writing was until they're like, you're just like, did you read that? And you're like, oh my God, this is terrible writing. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't make anyone in that situation an idiot. When you showed me that and I was like, dude, no, I can't unsee it. You weren't like, dude, you're so actually stupid. I can't believe it. You were just like, yeah, now you see it, right? And I'm like, yeah, dude, now I freaking see it. And it's just like, that's it. It doesn't mean anyone's stupid. I mean, that's the inherent fear there. It's like, I liked Starfield. If Starfield really is a bad game, I like something bad and that makes me less valuable. So I must defend Starfield with my life because otherwise I'll look like a guy that likes a bad thing. And it just goes crazy instead of just being like, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and unfortunately, like the more time I've spent playing, it hasn't like I could have been accused of coming to conclusions about what the rest of the game was too early. Whereas my thought was they've put everything out on the table. The beginning of the game is usually when you put your best foot forward. Usually games fall off at the end. Like Baldur's Gate, the ending, it's still great. Yeah. But it's definitely like Act 1 and 2 are the best. Yeah. Act 3 is kind of mid, you know? Yeah. But you end up with a great resolution of the story, all this stuff.
Yep.
Most games put their best foot forward straight away. Yeah. So like, why would I assume that any of the criteria, the attention to detail, blah, 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 all that stuff would be different later on? Yeah. Why is it unreasonable to assume? Maybe. Well, I've now gone and basically kind of like a fuck you, like, fine, I'll take a look. Yeah. Let's see. Either I'll be wrong and it'll be one of those moments where I'm like, hey, I was wrong, you know? Yeah. Or it's going to be a vindication moment. And you can say that I'm motivated to be vindicated. Yeah. I mean, you know, you can claim to know what's in my heart and what I want and what I think and what my plans are, and good for you. Yeah. But I mean, everything is, it blows my mind how bad it is. Yeah. Like, so 30 hours in, and I'm not sure why the spaceship is in the game. Yeah. I'm not sure why there's like, it's like a mobile base, but so far I haven't had a reason to have a base. There's no reason to customize the ship. So like literally what you do is when you have a quest, you can walk all the way from the front door of the building you're in all the way to your ship, which, you know, takes like 40 seconds or whatever. And it's all it is the characters all in the way, right? Just like annoyingness constantly. The like primary character, you know, behind you, who's like your follower. Yeah. They'll be like, you know, I think that, you know, this city's history and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, what are you doing with the snakes in the grass? Like some random characters, and it replaces the subtitles. Yeah, yeah. You just constantly interrupts you, right? It's like, you can do that. And then you get in your ship, and then it's like fades to black, loading screen for, it's only like 2 seconds. Yeah. Now you're in the cockpit of your ship, and now you pull up the map screen, and then you choose the planet you want to go to, and then you choose set route, and then you hold X, and then it's ship takes off, cutscene, fades to black, it's a loading screen, and then you're looking at the planet you want to land on, and then you open up your journal to where your quests are, and you choose the quest you want, or you open up the map and then choose the landing spot, and you press the button, and it loading screens to while you're...
It's like fast travel with extra steps.
It splits up one fast travel into 6 fucking fast travels with the occasional you 80% of the time when you show up to the planet, it's like, hold on, you got to get scanned by the authorities because like the government, needs to make sure you don't have any contraband over and over and over. And whoever you guys are flipping out on in chat, just ban him and get him out of here.
Yeah.
All he is a distraction.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
And I've been asking people, like, am I playing it wrong? Like, what's the game loop supposed to be? And I haven't figured it out yet. And most people are like, no, that's what you do. Unless you want to walk around in your ship, I guess.
I've heard of people that, like, you fly around and interact with, like board ships and steal the cargo that's on them, but I haven't seen anybody do that when they're playing.
And I imagine...
You know what I mean? It's like you can...
That might be cool.
But it's like...
I don't know.
It's like crafting is in the game, and in order to start any mission, you have to walk up to the crafting table and then just escape out of it. It's like, it's cool that it's a gameplay loop if people want it to be there, but it's like a gameplay loop that you're forced to just like deny every time you don't want to do it. Like, it would have been cool if you were given the ability to just click a planet. If you were walking around and you could just pull up your watch, click the planet your quest is on, boom, and in one load screen you get the takeoff and you get the landing. Or you can say go to space, and then you can fly around in space doing those things if you wanted to do them. But
the fastest way to get there is 3 different, like, separate fast travels with 3 button presses.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Once you get to the menu and click twice, it's like so fucking terrible. Okay. And then the quests, I mean, it's just a caricature of the worst possible. You show up to the place you went to. There's 7 pirates. They're all the same guys with the same generic bullshit, whatever. They sit there and they like miss all the shots on you and they yell stupid stuff. Your companion is just running back and forth, jumping, throwing grenades at your feet, totally, put their gun away and start talking to you as if normal while the enemies are shooting them in the back and they just don't react. At one point, there's a hospital and there's like a VIP area in the hospital and we're looking for like a fugitive. Okay. We got to convince this. We go through this whole persuasion mini game. Don't even get me started on that. We end up in the VIP area of the hospital and we open the door and there's a corpse, a turret on the ceiling, and then like a landmine. And then you find out what you like gotta like check the computer and then look at like the note that she left on the bed that says exactly where she's going. Come to this planet in the cave where your secret hideout is. And then you go to the other, like, go through the door to the lobby, and there's 60 people, and I go to talk to them, and they're all like, hey, what can I do for you? And I want to be like, there's dead people! Like, there was just a shooting and landmines. And, like, they have no record, there's nothing.
Yeah.
You go to the cave, you pick up the thing, and you go back, and you add it to your collection of things. Over and over and over and over for 30 hours. And then I do the one side quest I had. I'll just tell you the one side quest, and then I'll be done.
Dang.
Because there was a period where I'm like, I did one of the main faction quest lines, complete and utter the same thing.
Yeah. Go
kill a bunch of people, talk to some people. It makes no sense. It's boring. It's fucking annoying. The main quest, same shit over and over and over and over again. So then I was responding to the people who were like, well, you need to go explore the stuff in between.
Yeah.
Well, one time I did that, and I walked for 7 minutes. There was nothing there except for a derpy little dinosaur thing. And it was just grass and rocks. So I'm like, okay, well, now I'm fast traveling everywhere.
Yeah,
like I'm no longer walking. So I go, okay, and I go find this woman who's like working in some company. And I start talking to her, and then she starts talking about the heart of Mars. And I'm like, now I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds interesting. And she was like, but it's like this cursed platinum deposit in a cave. People go there and nobody walks out. Like, you can go there if you want. Here are the coordinates to the cave. like open it up in my journal, hit a button, whoop, I'm right outside the cave. Okay, cool. Walk to the entrance of the cave, hit enter. Loading screen. I'm at the entrance to the cave. I can see the quest marker 34 meters in front of me. I walk over and it's a chunk of gray rock. I mined it. I picked it up. The heart of Mars is a gray rock worth 25,000 units. And then I'm like, I can see the cave go further. And I'm like, there's got to be like a kraken in here or something, right? And I walk in and it's about 50 feet of just cave with nothing. Like not even mining anything.
There were like enemies in there?
Nothing. No. And then I go back and I show her, I'm like, yo, I got the heart of Mars. And she goes, oh, wow, that was just a prank that we have newbies that go out. We didn't even think it was real. I must have given you the wrong cave coordinates. Well, you can keep it. See you later. And that's the heart of Mars. It's fucking, dude, I'm telling you, it's atrocious. I'm literally mad. It's so fucking bad.
That's crazy, dude.
Like, am I unreasonably angry?
No.
It's like this was Todd Howard's fourth grade son's midterm project for English class.
Oh my God.
And that's the game, dude. It's just that. And here's the thing. People like walking around mindlessly and collecting things but like I won't hear from anybody that it's an incredible game. I won't hear from Game Rant or Mondo Xbox or CC Magazine or IGN Brazil or Hobby Consoles that it's 95 or 100 when it's just the most shallow trash.
Damn.
And every 4 seconds, if you just walk and you stop, you're going to see some broken bullshit. All of a sudden, your character is just going to like in front of you, two NPCs have a conversation. One walks away and then they have a conversation from 300 feet away from each other. And they're still talking. And it's like every 2 minutes.
Man.
Someone's just walking into you, walking into walls.
That's so brutal.
It's like stable and then it's not crashing.
Yeah.
But like nothing works. None of the dialogue options, they don't do anything. I promise you, they do nothing. You have 5 options for every dialogue. The first 4 they just push you to the same thing, and then the last one is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my God. And then you see like your companion dislikes this, and then it just goes to the next thing anyway. It doesn't change. They don't change anything. They don't respond to anything that you just said. I spent like 15 minutes talking to, there was a little boy talking about how his dad died and his mom is really sad and needs a friend. Open up her front door and walk in, and that's totally fine, right? Start talking to the lady, and she's saying how hard it is. She's like stuck in this cycle of she can't make it, she can't get a job. If she goes to get a job, she can't take care of her kid, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And then I find out that I think she's like an alcoholic based on like her son said like, oh yeah, they said something she gets sad, so she drinks, but like I don't get sad when I drink water. It's like, oh, okay. So the kid doesn't understand that his mom's an alcoholic, whatever. If you open up her locker, there's like whiskey in there. So it's like, okay, you get 1 point for flavor. Yeah. But then you talk to her, you go through all of their dialogue, and there's nothing you can do. You can't give them money. You can't help her get a job. It's just nothing. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Oh, yeah. And while this is all happening, there's like Mars explosions going on while your character is talking to you, while this character is talking to you, while someone runs up like a QuickTime event and is like, hey, all at once, and the screen is shaking and everybody's all talking to you and none of them know anything about the other systems that are all happening. It's a joke, dude.
That's wild.
And I spent $100 on it. Luckily I made that back in ad revenue on the first video. And I'm putting together some highlight videos of just how fucking busted it is, just so I can say here's my time playing the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's not even commentary. It's just me laughing at things. If you want to think that my original takes that the game is bad or unreasonable, then fine. I don't know, but here we are.
Dang. That's that's brutal. I saw like it's funny, I saw a video of like it was like top 10 Starfield mods. And it was funny because like I watched the video and like 8 of them, it was like top 10 Starfield mods of the week.
I didn't see it. They had to be ways to make the
everything better. Yeah.
Better.
None of it was like Thomas the Train, and none of it was like, nude mods or anything. It was like 8 of the 10 were just like the menu.
Doing Bethesda's job.
Yeah. Like there were so many things I was watching the video. I haven't played Starfield and I was like, why didn't they think of that? Like it was just like,
well, it took 7 years,
and it took modders 2 days. 2 days. It was like giving, dude, I need to send you the video because some of it was like so good on just like allowing you to see more information about what things are, or like giving icons to things so you can see what they are in your inventory, like making the health bar better. It's just like so many things. And it's like, it's crazy because, yeah, once again, 25 years, billion-dollar company, hundreds of people working on it. Like, this should be what you expect. You know what I mean? Like,
I went through
2
the
dudes in their underwear in their basement shouldn't be able to in 48 hours make like something so critical as like the inventory, and like so those 2 guys in 30 minutes can make every single person's every second of the game better. It's like, why couldn't you guys have spent 2 days making every single person's every second of the game better? Like that stuff is brutal. Modding for like, yeah, Thomas the Train or modding Skyrim into, that's great. But like, just it's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean even like Skyrim with like the Sky UI mods, and a whole bunch of other inventory, whatever. Like there were a ton of really nice quality of life mods.
Yeah.
Same thing with Baldur's Gate. The difference is that like it wasn't god awful before.
Yeah.
This game is just actually the worst of all.
Yeah.
Every time you hit a button and it brings you to a menu and you have to hit tab. 1,000, 2, 1,000. Now you're out of the menu. Otherwise, it takes you back to the second, back to the first.
So it was like, literally one of the mods was that when you hold tab, it just takes you all the way back. One of the mods was getting rid of the delay when holding tab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Oh, fucking A, dude.
That's wild, man. Well, I'm sorry that you've been playing a game that sucks. I'm sorry.
I've been when they say find your own fun, I've been finding my fun, and it's been laughing at how
for sure, right?
abysmal the game is. And part of me feels bad because I know, I mean, not that anybody that worked at Bethesda is gonna watch my content.
Yeah.
I'd feel bad if one of them, came and saw. But then again, like it's such a big company with a million people working on it for so long that any individual is so detached from 100%. It that I don't feel bad because nobody's going to take it personally.
Yeah. And undoubtedly, there are people that worked on it that share your sentiment. You know what I mean? That like, spend years working on the aesthetic or the systems or the, you know what I mean?
Or that
like,
wanted to, or that had ideas and wanted to improve things. And the people in charge, because this has happened when I worked at different software companies, the people in charge say, no, we have other priorities. You're not going to work on those things that are going to make things better. You need to work on this other thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, so I went through the credits. It's like 45 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
Because there was a Reddit post that was like, this explains what's wrong with Starfield. And it shows there's like 47 companies that they like outsourced work to.
Oh, yeah.
Now, honestly, someone responded to that with Elden Ring's credits basically have the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's like that. Okay. Touche. Your argument is invalid.
Touche. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, it's clearly not that that's a problem, but it made me curious. So I went and I looked at Baldur's Gate's credits, and there were 20 writers and then 9 like dialogue editors and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I went through Starfield, and there was one writer, like the guy who's like the head of writing and like content and some other thing. And then like I tried to watch most of it. I wasn't gonna sit. I was kind of like scrubbing through 10 seconds at a time. I couldn't find. So it's like, well, there you go.
They just
if they had employed 20, if they had, no, I mean, ChatGPT would have been better.
Yeah, true.
ChatGPT is phenomenal when it comes to creative writing.
Yeah,
it would absolutely have come up with something better. I mean, think about when I did the whole like, let's make a quest and whatever.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Damn, man. Well, Ripperino.
Yep. So, like I said, I don't know how much more I'm gonna play.
Yeah,
I don't know where
you've
I'm
been finding some enjoyment now that your expectations have shifted. You know what I mean?
It's gotten to the point where like laughing at it is becoming too annoying. I have to go through 9 menus to laugh at things. You know, all the cutscenes and loading screens, and the other big problem too is that it's been all wrapped up in all of the other bad takes.
Yeah,
I get lumped in with the people who are mad
for sure
that, you know, it's not on PlayStation,
and you get lumped in with the people that are mad that you pick your pronouns. Like, it's unreal. Yeah.
I was waiting. I watched the Actman's video that he made about like responding to hot takes, and I was like ready for one of my clips to be in there.
Oh man.
I think he's also going to make a video that like responds to it. Right? Sorry, not the response to it, not like my video, but like that is his like review.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure exactly what his take is, but yeah, I don't know, dude.
Damn. Well, speaking of existing to laugh at a game, I've been playing a whole lot of Tarkov, dude.
How's that been?
Oh my god, it's been rough. So like last week we went through like the patch notes of like the patch they did 13.5.1 or whatever, and they did some quality of life stuff. Bro, it like scuffed the game, bro. That patch, dude.
Oh, no.
So like, you know, you play DayZ enough. You play DayZ more than I have. Like, one of the things that always like got under my skin about the DayZ UI was like, if I click something from my inventory and drag it to my hands and let go, the icon snaps back to the inventory and then snaps back to my hands. Like everything, when you try to move something, it's like it's,
I didn't play it that much.
Oh, well,
I've got maybe 10 hours.
I've got probably 6. That was always something. It's like the inventory is super laggy. It's always how it's been. It was like that in Tarkov. Every time you move something in your inventory, like if I picked up bolts in my backpack and tried to move them over here because I was Tetrising, as soon as you let go, it would release, the icon would snap back to where it was, and then it would snap back to this. And it was like every single thing. And I was like, oh my God. So like the inventory started being scuffed. Dude, every positive thing I've said about the movement, undone in a heartbeat, dude. Like the desync was brutal. The hit reg was brutal. Like your teammates, when you're running around with your teammates, it was like they would vibrate back and forth 2 feet. Like,
so nothing. Wait, so first and foremost, that none of the things they've done to like improve it were like lasting, meaningful changes at all. It was like turning your router off and turning it back on again. You're like, oh wow, my internet speed went up 10x. It's like, no, you've just been slogging through the muck, and you will be in a few more hours.
Yes. Yeah. But like up until now, some of that stuff had felt like lasting, and then it was just like, it was so scuffed. It was like crazy packet loss on streets, especially crazy, unbelievable teleports, like unbelievable, just teleporting back 10, 15 feet. Like you would go into a door, like, you know, you would go into a doorway and then turn right and be running down a hallway, and then you teleport back out of the door. And since you had turned right, now you were just running into the wall next to the door. And you're like, wait, what? So then you have to go back in. Happening in the middle of fights, dude. Like, dude, I see a guy I'm shooting, I literally swing to pre-fire him, and I've passed the wall now, and then I'm just back, and I'm shooting into the wall, and I'm like, just like losing my mind. So the patch was rough. Some of the quality of life stuff they added was great, but the patch was rough, dude. And then, weirdly enough, they did what I have never, to my knowledge, seen them do before. But they rolled it back. They were like the next day, or maybe the day after, they tweeted, they were like, this update, we have installed a technical update. This update features a partial rollback of the changes to the networking and inventory operations. They were just like, whoop.
Do you know that did the version number go up?
I didn't check. I should have.
Yeah, like I guess the question is, was it actually a rollback, like literally?
Yeah, they said partial.
Or what, did they just undo the changes they
they
made?
did partial rollback, so that makes me think, because it wasn't a rollback of like anything you had in your stash or anything like that, you know what I mean? So I think it was just, yeah, they probably like unchecked a box that they checked and were testing or whatever. But it was just like, it was pretty bad. It was like pretty bad, which once again, you know, I don't know, it's like on one hand it's just atrocious and brutal and terrible, and on the other hand it's like, sure, whatever, yeah, we're push the updates. If they suck, they suck. You know what I mean? It's like we're testing, but like, I don't know. It was just for a while, it was really, really, really bad.
And it got better after the rollback?
No, it didn't get, okay, so it didn't get better. I didn't notice a single thing that got better after the rollback. It was crazy. And then that was September 8th. And then it was like 2 days like that. I was like 5 days like that. It was bad. And then on the 13th, they did, which was yesterday they did like a bunch of patches. So yesterday they did a whole like, hey, the server's rate times are going to go down to 10 minutes, and they did it like really early in the morning yesterday. So by the time I got on yesterday, like I hopped on yesterday and it was night and day. It was completely different. I think I got like crazy packet loss one single time in 8 hours of streaming on Streets exclusively yesterday. I had more frames. I had more consistent frames. I had to restart my game less frequently. So I don't know if what they did was like finally nail the thing they were trying to do, or if they just like finally finished getting all of that stuff they were trying to do out. But yesterday it was like night and day. It was like, oh my God. Now, if you couldn't run Streets before, or if you ran Streets on a really low frames, you're still like that. But at least it's not rubber band stutter, just teleporting city. It was like, actually, I was like, oh, okay, it's back. And then they did like a bunch more rollbacks, or not rollbacks, sorry, they did a bunch more technical updates yesterday, or they did like 2 or 3 more throughout the day. Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was wild. The game, it's been woof, dude. It has been woof. But yeah, I don't know. One of the other cool things that happened, was, okay, so like last week, one of the biggest things we talked about was like the quests and all the new quests and the quest design, and how, like, you know, how we love that. One of the quests was like weird. It was bugging out. A bunch of people got this quest called The Door, and it was like find the signal. And nobody could find, they were like, where the hell is it? But most of the community didn't even have the quest. And there were people that had it that were like level 32. There were people that had it that had Kappa. So we pretty quickly were like, okay, you don't need to be level 50 to get the quest. You don't need to have Kappa to get the quest. Like, there was nobody really understood. And some people had it. And it was just like that for a few days. And then over the weekend, just like randomly, they just like fixed it, I guess. And there was a new key found that nobody had found before. Like the entire wipe, the whole month, nobody had found this key before. And then just like 2 days ago, everybody was finding it. Not everybody, but enough people that it was like clear that they turned something on. They were like, okay, turn on the spawn for the key. And it's called like the Rusty Bloody Key, which is apparently a callback to like Silent Hill games or something. I never played those. But it's a really cool, it's pretty cool. So you get the key, and there's just on Streets. So you know how sometimes, like, they've done this on a bunch of maps, but Streets is a big one. They have all these huge buildings, and if they don't want you, you can go up to like the second floor, but you can't go up all the way, right? And the way they'll block the staircases sometimes is there's just like a bunch of rubble. There's like a couch and a thing on the stair, and you can't go up any farther.
Yeah.
One of those, randomly in a random building in the new area, you can jump on the couch and just get over it and keep going up. And you
and that's intended.
It's intended, and you go up, and then there's a door, and that door is locked, and you unlock it with this rusty, bloody key. It's kind of sick, dude. They found it so fast. People found it so unbelievably fast. It's crazy.
That seems like, as cool as that is, the problem is that it's garbage design, because they've spent 7 years training people to say this is keep out, nothing to find here.
Yeah. And once again, if you don't want people relying on a wiki, I don't know. I don't even think they gave you like a building or an area of streets to look in the flavor text. But it's sick because, now we'll get to some of my criticisms, but it's sick because it's what I've always wanted. It's what I've wanted in the game for a while. I've talked about this stuff a ton, where I've talked about how I wanted there to be a single use key that like is ballin' every time, and you can't buy it on the flea, right? I want there to be a key that's not cheesable. You can't just buy them on the flea anytime you want, but a guarantee that it's going to be ballin'. And that's exactly what this is. So you open it up and it's like super creepy, and you go through all these tarps and you go into the back there. And once you finally get, there's like a door with like a bunch of chains on it, like real Walking Dead type stuff, and you can't go in the door. But all in the hallway, everywhere, dude, there's keys. There's like 14 key spawns, which they've never really done before. Like, obviously there's spawns for keys, but there's legitimately like 14 key spawns. And so like I've seen people pull marked keys from multiple different maps. I got a Kiba key. I got a reserve marked key, customs keys, like tons of keys, Emercom keys, like shoreline keys. There's just like 14 on the ground. And key tools, I've seen people get the key that you need for that room, the rusty bloody key, so you can like run it again. It's not there every time, but so you can run it again. And like some streamer item spawns and some valuable spawns. And it's just like, it's dope. It's so sick because...
Do you ever get like 216 just like trash?
Yeah,
keys,
for sure. You can. But like so like the quest is you have to go in there and plant a Wi-Fi camera in there, and then you plant a Wi-Fi camera out on the like basically right outside of the room, and then you...
At some point we need to be planting Wi-Fi routers, okay?
Yeah.
Someone needs to... Wi-Fi repeaters.
There's too many cameras.
Yeah.
And then when you complete the quest, you like plant the camera, extract array, turn in the quest. A reward for the quest is another key. So what people were doing is a bunch of streamers were like 5 stacking, helping people out. Because it's like, if I'm a streamer and I have a key, let's 5 stack it.
That's like 6 entries.
Yeah, let's 5 stack it. We all get the quest done. All of you now will complete your quest and get your key. One of you come with me, and we're going to take more people. And like, you know what I mean? It was a bunch of people were just like helping other people get it. And then once you get the quest done...
You could go forever, basically.
Yeah, well, if you're a streamer, you could basically go forever. But the people I was watching, like Trey... If he was using someone else's key, he wouldn't loot any of it. It was like just he was the guy facilitating, like, I brought you in, now you bring your key in, and we're going to help 3 more people, and we're just going to keep doing that so like everybody can get the quest done. But like a bunch of keys were spreading through the community because as people were doing it. So I looted it twice, and like I got some sucky keys that were 30,000 rubles, but I got a marked key that was 1,000,000 rubles, and like people were getting key tools, and like I said, people were getting keys for that room again, so you could run more. It's sick. It's definitely like the most consistently just like goated room.
So
there is some problems.
Now, it has to be asked, what are the chances that it's good forever? Like there have been tons of rooms that have been great. All the time. But, black was always good to go into all the time. Yeah. It was consistent. I don't know about how it is now, but every room that's been good has been nerfed into the ground.
Green used to be good, and now it's garbage. Red used to be good, now it's garbage. Kiba used to be good, now it's garbage. Ultra Med used to be good, now it's garbage. I've actually got a video in the works about that. But my suspicion is that this room will remain good because of the access to it. If you find a key, so here's the deal. So here's where things kind of start to take a turn for the worse. I love that you cannot flea market this key. I love that the key is a 1 out of 1 use, because that's what I want, right? If it's a 20 use key, then when you find it, it's just like infinite money glitch, right? You can just like farm it up and make a bunch of money. If you can buy it on the flea market, infinite money glitch. So these are the things, like, it doesn't seem like they really consider why they end up having to nerf these rooms. You know what I mean? They're like, what? Everyone's just running Emercom. Let's just make no loot in there, instead of being like, well, how often does the key spawn? How many uses does it have? Like, can we balance something in there? They never do that. So I love those things. Can't flea market it. Dope. 1 use. Dope. The downside, you can't put it in your secure container. Yeah. So you have to just put it in your pockets and run the key. And if you've been keeping up, our members in the audience, if you've been keeping up with the recent changes to Tarkov, let's say you found it like in a duffel bag or in a filing cabinet on like reserve, right? Or you got it in your scav case. Some people are getting it in their Intel scav cases. Okay. What happens when you take that key into a raid? Does it gain, retain, or lose its found in raid status? It loses it. As per some of these RMT changes, what happens when you die with non-found in raid items on you? They delete themselves.
So people can't even loot them?
So if I brought the key in and you killed me, it's not in my secure container and you can't loot it. It literally ceases to exist. Nobody gets it. It's...
Who let Todd Howard?
Dude. It's crazy.
Todd Howard and Nikita made a pact, some sort of deal with the devil that required they make a gajillion dollars, but the only criteria is that their games can never be great.
Yeah, dude. So like, it was in classic Fishy. It was so close to just dope, perfect, awesome. Because like, yes, there was a quest attached to it, which would normally be a criticism, but it's not a Kappa required quest, and it's a quest you can get pretty early on, right? So like, it didn't really matter, because like, and the quest was simple, right? Like if you found the key, then you were like, oh, I'm gonna run it. I can't sell it. You know what I mean? I can't sell it on the flea market anyway. So like, it was set up in a way that even though it had a quest attached to it, it was okay. It would have been perfect, because it's like, it's an unnecessary thing. It's not something you have to worry about. Like, oh my God, I need Rashala, I need his golden TT. It was just like, if you found the key, it was a really cool side quest, right? Like I got to work on Shooter Born in Heaven, or I got to work on this. Holy cow, I found the Rusty Bloody Key. This is always going to give me dope loot. Like, let's go do that real quick. Like, it was awesome. It was a perfect little, like, this is the guarantee. Maybe you 5-stack it with your homies. Like, yo, protect me. This is going to be sick. Let's go run the key. And it was so close to everything I wanted, as like, it would have stood as this like example of why some of the changes that I and many others have proposed would be so cool, because like, you would have never gone and found a stream where people were like farming it all day, like you see with like marked keys and stuff like that. Like, it just would have been a cool side activity to do and make some money and just like this really cool thing. But the fact that you can't put it in your secure container and it deletes itself when you die, like the only time if you kill somebody and they found it that raid and it's still found in raid, then if you killed them, it would still be on them because they couldn't secure container it. But like, it's just, oh man, it just, it felt truly like they, like what we had said before, like, especially remember when they made these changes where like, hey, if you bring in something that's not found in raid and you die with it, it deletes just, and a lot of people were like, it's not that big of a deal. You never do that anyway. And we were like, I feel like somewhere down the road, they're going to not consider this when making other mechanics and it's going to be toxic. Like, this is that moment, right? Where you could make an argument that it would have been okay if you can't secure container it but when you kill a guy with it, he could loot it at least. You know what I mean? Like you could, but because it just, oh man, because it's just a bunch of things.
But the cheaters, dude.
Yeah, it's a bunch of things I've said where it's like the cherry picking. It goes back to what I said last week. Cherry picking stuff, in my opinion, is weird. And it's the same. Remember when they said with like secure containers, like they just started randomly picking items that you can't put in your secure container. The items that you need that are only found on labs that you need for Intel Center Level 3 and Solar, you can't put those in your secure container. Just arbitrarily, that's game design to them. That's like hardcore. These are the end game quests, so we need end game difficulty. And end game difficulty just means that for some unknown reason, this tiny thing, even though you can fit a literal tank battery into your sphincter if you have an Epsilon case, this little motor controller, just because we don't wanna, you can't. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm all for maybe we can't put X, Y, or Z in our secure container, but make it make sense. Don't just make it like arbitrarily this thing. And then you do it with the
because
keys.
You unless you've memorized it or you've watched streams or seen videos, you don't know. You click and drag the thing into your secure container and then you see it turn red. And then it's like, that's when you learn.
Yeah. And you're just like, wait, once again, when you were saying what the game has taught you, the game has taught me that I can at least secure this for myself. Maybe I can't, if I die with it, I can't sell it on the flea, but the game has taught me over all my raids, well, at least I can make sure I have it. And then just like, nah, wait, what? And once again, you could even, if you were stretching it, you could make the argument that those labs things, those are endgames items. We've never been able to put those items in our secure container because when they were added to the game, you couldn't. So it's like you can make that argument. But keys, since the pre-alpha, you've been able to put secure container keys. There's literally like 5 different devices in the game that are all made for storing keys in your secure container. Key tool, Gingy keychain, docs case, sick case. And so just randomly this one key, it's just like, nah. And you're like, just make it make sense. You know what I mean? So like those are the things. It was so close, man. I love the room. I love how to get to the room. I love that it's like a mystery. I love that it's good loot. I love that you can't sell it on the flea. I love that it's one-time use. And it's just like all the air gets sucked out of it. Now, I will say my experience with this key was, so I heard that there was a singular static spawn for it on streets in the new area, in the new mall, underneath an escalator, hanging on like it's like this little industrial thing. There's like a tool and like a tool bunch and a hammer, and there's like pegboard, and you can find it hanging there. I heard that. And 2 days ago, I hopped on first raid on. I literally, it was just like warm up raid. I went streets. I spawned it at the mall. I was like, let's check for the key. And it was there. And when I tell you that was one of the most fun raids I had, like it was sick because there was finally this like tension again, which is exactly why, I was like, oh my God, like where is the room, chat? Like, I had the Wi-Fi cameras on me. So I just like took the key and then went to the room. And so like, there was definitely this awesome like moment that was created that I don't get in Tarkov really anymore, but I just feel like they took it too far. You know what I mean? You could have created that moment without so many toxic, like random arbitrary rules around it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you said everything that everything I was thinking, feeling. Yeah.
It was brutal. It was just brutal. Now, that raid was like pretty much out of a movie. You know how like you can spawn as a player scav with a Fleer on an SV98 like 1 in a million times, like just like randomly you can get that. I've spawned with that like 3 times in my Tarkov career. I've never fought a player scav with the Fleer on, right? Like I've never like killed a player scav and I found it. So I find the key, first raid on, I'm not warmed up. I go, I plant the things, I pull a bunch of stuff. I've got a bunch of keys that I now do want to sell in the flea market. I've been burned by Tarkov Shooter Part 8. I really want to survive this raid just in case dying resets the quest. On my way out, there's a player scav like shooting me and I'm like, dude, how does he see me? I kill him. He's got the SV98 with the Fleer on. I'm sitting in the extract and a 2-man of player scavs wrap around. I kill one. I transfer to the other dude. I run out of ammo, and I'm literally just spinning in circles in the extract, watching the extract timer go down while this player scav is shooting at me, and I make it out. Like, I'm out of ammo, and I'm just like spinning around. It was like an actual movie of a raid. It was
Oh my
epic.
god.
It was epic.
Fucking A, dude.
But yeah, so that was like,
What a roller coaster of emotions that singular quest is.
yeah, it really was. And so yeah, it really is. It was brutal and exciting at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, things were, everybody was freaking out because everyone was like, yo, did you get the key? Did you get the key? And it just felt like it kind of took the wind out of its own sails there, which was unfortunate. Did we talk about the new Lightkeeper quest where you have to kill all the bosses 15 times?
Jesus. I mean, it sounds like a Tarkov quest.
Yeah,
I don't know if we have.
Okay, so
everything you say about Tarkov, it bounces around in my head for 2 hours a week, and then it gets erased completely.
It's also funny because I feel like everything that's happening in Tarkov warrants that response where I'm like, oh, did I tell you that, you have to freaking gouge out one of your own eyes in order to authenticate, two-factor authenticate Tarkov now? And you're just like, what? And I'm like, yeah. So they added, so we have the kill a quest, right? Kill a stylish one. Kill 100 times, you get the kill tracksuit. And you know how like we've been like begging for the Sturman jacket for forever? And then Nikita was like, no, we're not going to add the Sturman jacket in the game because like the Killa thing was kind of just a joke. And we were like, oh, I'm not saying it's not sick. It is sick, but I also haven't heard anyone ever. Yeah, it's 50 kills now, but it used to be 100. I haven't heard anyone ever say like, I want knights, like the goons, Big Pipe Knight, Berta. I want knights top, but that got added this wipe.
I've seen him once in game, and I've never seen him ever again. I couldn't. If you put any of the new scav bosses in front of me, I couldn't tell you what game they were in.
Knight's top would really just be like a regular USEC top, like a USEC woodland, like just some random top. But what makes Knight's cool is that he's got a bunch of dog tags wrapped around his arm from all the people he's killed.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I care more about arm things. It's the same reason why like I love gloves and knives
for sure.
in CSGO.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're looking at 98% of the time are your fucking hands.
Yeah. And once again, I'm not saying it's not sick. It is sick, but it was just funny that like of all the bosses to put, I was just surprised. Like Bird Eye has a way cooler top. Like it's like this cool like sweater shawl thing. I don't know what you would call it. Bird Eye's top is cool. Sturman's is really unique because it's the cool jacket. So many other ones. So it was just interesting they put knights in. But then the quest,
Bird Eye looks like it's like a Native American like shawl poncho.
Yeah, like a poncho, yeah.
I don't know what you call it, like wool.
Yeah. But anyways, so the quest to get, so just like the stylish one, when you're in the services tab, you can see the cosmetic, but you have to complete the quest, the stylish one, to get it. So they added Knight's top, and in order to get it, you have to complete all of Lightkeeper's tasks, because the new Lightkeeper task at the end of that long, arbitrary, random chain of events is a new task where you have to kill all the bosses in the game 15 times each. And then after that, you get another quest, which I don't know that anybody's actually gotten to yet. And that quest, when you complete it, you can buy Knight's top for like 8 million rubles. It's just like, I just saw Vibin's tweet, because like Vibin has been grinding the Lightkeeper stuff. And it's called Ballad of the Rogues. And it's Rashala, Gluhar, Killa, Sturman, Sanitar, Tagilla 15 times a piece. And he was just like, bro, what? And then that's Lightkeeper. That's our in-game trader. You know what I mean?
Yikes.
So that was something. And then the only other like the only other thing of note was like on Arena News, we haven't gotten any news since Gamescom. And they announced that, like, the official Tarkov Arena account announced they're like, we're going to be at a Tokyo Games show, like basically another, like, you know, E3, Gamescom, like a Tokyo one.
Most extreme elimination challenge.
Yeah.
Tokyo Game Show. That's all I could picture when you said Tokyo
Oh.
Game Show. I pictured fucking MXC.
Dude. Yes. Oh my God.
Like I would love to see
Oh
Nikita
my
go over
God.
over those big red balls.
Yo, you just like core memory unlocked. I used to watch that stuff. Holy cow.
With Guy Ledouche. Was that his name?
Yeah, I don't know. Holy cow. I have not thought about that in so long.
Kenny Blankenship.
Anyways, they're going to that to show off more Arena and let people play it. And then somebody, so did you see the news, like the Mexican aliens that were
oh my
fucking
God.
Fudge tweeted a picture of the alien like laying down in the thing, and he tweeted, he said, "Me by the time Tarkov Arena launches," and which was just funny. But then one of the community managers commented, "This is why I'm bringing it up. It's noteworthy." One of the community managers commented and said, "Closed beta test will begin in Q4 this year." So like they're still, basically, I say all that to say they're still doubling down on the concept that it's going to be playable this year. I'm not saying to believe that inherently. I'm just saying when I was writing down any news that happened in Tarkov in our notes this week, I was like, well, they're continuing on the closed beta. Now we don't know what closed beta test means, right? Does that mean like NDA invite only, or does that mean everybody that's purchased Arena can play the closed beta test? I don't know.
I mean, listen, Escape from Tarkov right now is a closed
beta. Is a closed beta, yeah. So
it has to be.
So I don't know.
Beta.
So I don't know. But yeah, that's really all that's happening in Tarkov. It's been a while since I made like a proper like Tarkov video. I'm just doing a lot of highlight videos. And I made a video today. I posted a video today on like the weight system. And it's nothing like new. It's everything we've talked about before, about how it's very unnecessarily punishing at the low end, right? You know what I mean? Like why at 35 kilograms on a level 1 character can I like not sprint at all, when the weight system was introduced in the game to avoid people running around with 100 kilograms on their back. Like, why is it so punishing at the low end when the behavior they were trying to eliminate was that? And then I also prove in the video, like, you still can. Like, I go into a raid with 83, I think it was 83 kilograms. Like, my movement speed was all the way down to 1 tick. Can't sprint, can't do anything. Mule, SJ6, trim it all. Full sprints, bunny hopping around. And it's funny because anytime you criticize the weight system, people are like, well, we don't want to go back to when you could just bunny hop around with 80 kilograms of loot. And it's like, you still can. Anyway. So I made the title of my video, "The weight system is hurting the wrong players." Because, right, like if the guys that were running around in patch 0.9 and 0.10 with 80 kilograms of loot, they're only better at the game today. They can afford those 3 stims. They always have those 3 stims, which means that it's basically a pay-to-win weight system. And it's just funny to see the comments. A bunch of the comments were...
No, I was going to say, are you getting all the realism, Andy?
No, not...
delusional.
Not realism. I actually spent a good part of the video talking about, like, realism and once again, nothing we haven't talked about before, but about, like, realism is it's not a blanket tool. It's a tool to be used when appropriate. Like, the fact that I have to pack my mags manually is realistic and cool for the game. Like, it creates unique situations and is things you have to think of. But like me performing surgery on my legs in 18 seconds and then running on it is not realistic and also good for the game, right? Like, because if it was a 2 to 3 month waiting period where I had to be in a cast, that's not fun. But the comments were the it's just going back to the whole, like, you know, I'm trying to remember. I loved what you said. Somebody said you can't review Starfield only playing 5 hours, and you're like, can you review a review only watching 30 seconds of the video? And it's that, because a bunch of the comments were like this. It was literally like that meme where it was like, I'm not reading all that, bro. Congratulations, or I'm sorry. Like, it was just so much. But the core point of what he was trying to say, and a bunch of people were like, it's just so ridiculous that you streamers want to change the game so that you can run around and run and gun, so that you can do this, so that you can have more fun.
Tell me you didn't watch the video without telling me you didn't
so that
watch
you
the
can
video.
it's crazy that you guys want to do this so you guys have a better experience, that you guys can just stomp on people. And it's just crazy because that's the whole point of the video is that I can do that stuff. I am good enough to always have those stims on me, to always do that. I play enough to get max strength and endurance. The actual whole point of the video is I wish every level 1 character had as much strength and endurance as I do today. I want everyone to just have max strength and endurance. Nerf the stims so the chads can't rely on them. I want my experience to be worse and your experience to be better. But the criticism is literally, you're so stupid. You just want your experience to be better at the expense of my experience. And it's crazy because it's just so, if I let myself, I go crazy thinking about that, because I'm you're never, BSG's never going to make the game better for you. If you yell at everybody that's BSG, can you please make the game better for for these people? You know what I mean? It's it's crazy. You're just never, I don't know.
It's because they don't want to listen to anybody else other than the very specific subset of people that they listen to. They've made up their minds. They're right. And Todd Howard, Nikita, fucking Notch, whoever, they all need to do exactly what I say. Because naturally, I'm right. Of course, I'm right. I'm the main character.
Yeah. It's just weird. It's just classic. And I expected it. It wasn't like I didn't expect it. You know what I mean? But it's wild. Some people had really valid criticism. Some people were like, hey, maybe this would be a good idea. Because the end of the video, I'm here's what the weight system could look like. That's forgiving down here, super hard up here. And so some people were like that, and it was great. And I knew it was going to be that, but it's just so crazy that you can. It's one thing for you to say Starfield is a bad game and somebody to be like, I don't think Starfield is a bad game. I hate you for you thinking that. It's okay, you're ridiculous. But it's you're Starfield is a bad game. And then somebody comments you're a worthless piece of garbage. Starfield is a terrible game. I can't believe you would make this video defending it. And it's wait, what? I don't understand. Everybody that's open-minded has watched the video and has been yeah, good points. They should change it. The chads, a bunch of people in my chat that are brand new to the game were dude, it would be so much nicer if I could move. A bunch of the people that have watched it that are giga chads will be yeah, dude, I hate that I'm the only one with max strength and endurance. I wish everybody could just move and have fun. And then you get the people who are just no. It's weird. It's very weird, but very
Bro, you mentioned the fucking Mexican alien thing.
Yeah.
There's one funny thing that I think is worth mentioning. All I saw, I heard about that while I was watching an Asmongold reacts to some random other thing. And I saw a clip where they pick up the little deep fried fetus, whatever the fuck it is, right? And they put it down on the table.
Yep.
It's
Jesus Christ.
What's that company? Franklin that makes the breaded chicken nuggets or whatever. Wilson's. I don't know.
Tyson?
Tyson. The fucking Tyson breaded, whatever. That's what it looks like. But I'm trying to look at it now, and all the little clips I'm finding are all they're in a black glass covered box.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the one original clip I saw was someone with just a glove picked them up and put them on a table, and it was that stood out to me because I just watched a video that was, I don't remember if it was new or if it was from 5 years ago and I just hadn't seen it. It was Destin from Smarter Every Day went and he looked at where they have the NASA Apollo moon rocks.
Oh, okay.
And he has to go through 6 airlocks, putting on a clean suit into an airlock to put on a clean suit over that to
in airlock and all of the air is getting pushed out, negative pressure, all this stuff. Then it's like a glass cage where you have to put on gloves and then put your hands through like rubber holes with rubber gloves to then take the things out with tongs while they're wrapped in plastic. And those are rocks.
Those are rocks from the moon.
And of course, you know, like the Mexican government's just going to be like, yo, we got aliens. Check it out. Look at this. Oh, fuck, we dropped it. Oh, there goes his arm. Oh, well,
Yo,
you know, like,
it's
oh my
wild.
God.
It's wild.
Give me a break.
I was honestly astonished. Like the thing that happened a few months ago or weeks ago where like the guy was like, we have, you know, non-biological remains, like, or whatever, or like non-human. And people were like, oh, is this aliens? Like, I understand that. I was actually astonished anyone took this seriously. It was just like, that's just a clay mold of E.T. Somebody just broke into like the back lot in Hollywood and just stole the original draft of the E.T. mold and filled it with clay. Like that's not 1,000-year-old alien. Like, bro.
No, the first red flag, and I'm not saying this is impossible, and maybe this is the way that it you know, maybe this is the way that it would have to happen in our like universe. I don't know. But seeing a bipedal, 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth, little ear holes in the exact same arrangement, 2 arms.
Yep.
Like, it's just so human.
Yep.
To be like, aliens must be weird versions of us.
Yep.
Like, give me a fucking break. Like, to think that they're just going to be humanoid.
Yep.
Blows my mind, right?
Yep.
But like, you know, that's what's on TV.
Yep.
That's what's been in the movies for 70 years, right? Like that, or like you take a squid, right? Like, I don't know what else you would do. Like, people aren't creative enough to think about what the fuck aliens are going to look, would look like. Now, again, it could very well be the thing that, you know, we think about all the different, maybe there's, you know, we're carbon based, maybe there's silicon based life or whatever elsewhere. It could very well be that, like, statistically, given the physics and the chemistry, that if there's life elsewhere in the universe, it's very much the same chemical structure. Maybe DNA is just like the logical conclusion of the chemistry and the physics and everything like that. And then, you know, if you think that there's evolutionary advantages to having that weird little light sensitive patch of cells, which then, you know, you can detect light or not.
Yeah.
To then have that light sensitive patch of cluster of cells, suddenly, you know, you get a few organisms that have it slightly indented. And then over the course of, you know, generations and generations and generations, eventually you end up with a cup. And then the cup comes over, and then you have, you know, like all of these different stages along the way provide advantages. And maybe having 2, you get binocular vision, and it's not, you know, it's not going to evolve 3 eyes. You know, it's only going to get 2. And, you know, of course, the nose being right underneath the eyes has to be and then the more you look into it, then the more it starts to be like, okay, well, now you've lost me. Like, I can see having eyes. Yeah. I can see there being, because we know, I'm fairly confident about this, but, you know, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody who's actually an evolutionary biologist in the comments. I think we've demonstrated different eyes that's evolved separately on different species, independent. There's a word for it. I forget. It's been too long since I talk about it in my thesis. Oh, that I was telling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We were talking about on the
PP. The PP.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
Convergent?
I don't know, man. I think they're real aliens. I don't know where they've been for the past 1,000 years, but they're real.
Yeah, and apparently they just came here and fucking died.
Yeah.
And then
I guess Tyson got a hold of them.
Yeah, deep
And
fried them
breaded
up.
and just breaded them.
Those are
dude.
some of the earliest preservation techniques. Just bread them up.
That's, I mean, it's exactly what a chicken nugget looks like before you put it in the fryer.
Yeah. Yep.
Just saying.
Yep.
Yo, so we have on this list of things to talk about Unity.
Yeah.
So that's pretty buck wild.
Yeah. So, like, I'm sure you have been as well. I've been asked about this all day long.
Someone opened up asking me, they were like, yo, thoughts on Unity? And all I could think of was your fucking, the last rant you had. It might have been in the last episode or the last Patreon episode. Just talking about, like, yo, thoughts on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? Your thoughts on genocide?
It was thoughts on them banning 16,000 cheaters, meaning potentially $1.6 million in profit. It was like,
Yeah.
Thoughts? That's funny. Thoughts on Unity? So it's funny because, like, here's the deal, right? And I've been saying this, and people get so mad at me for this, but I don't care. Obviously, I don't know.
Shit, I'm getting ready to cancel you. Dude.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I think the Unity thing is great. I think all developers should. No, I'm just kidding. Imagine. My thing was, like, I obviously don't know anything about Unity or what their previous agreement with any of these developments are. You know what I mean? So I was like, people are freaking out, and I was like,
everybody else, they all know all the contracts and all the deals.
I was
and
like,
all the licensing.
I was like, this sounds crazy, but, like, am I crazy for thinking this sounds crazy? Is this like a 5% increase? Is this completely an unprecedented move? Has nobody ever done this in the gaming space before? Like, I don't, thoughts on, I don't know. Like, what was it before? You know, has BSG negotiated rates prior? Is this why they hiked up the price of Tarkov 2 weeks ago? Literally, it was 2 weeks ago they hiked up the price. Was this why? Because they knew this was coming? I have no idea. So, like, that's the basis of it. Is, like, I don't know how contracts are negotiated when games are built on Unity. Now, that being said, it seems crazy that the change is, for those that haven't seen it, Unity was like, we're changing our pricing structure, and once you hit a certain threshold of, like, revenue made or installs from your game on Unity, we are now charging the game developer per install of the game over that threshold. So every time someone installs your game after you've hit this many, you have to pay X amount of dollars or cents per install. And people were freaking out. Now, I can kind of infer, I guess, from the response from the gaming community that this is a pretty crazy and outlandish and unprecedented thing. A bunch of game developers have made statements that work on Unity being like, yo, this is not it, fam. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. It seems wild.
I mean, yeah, there are. I've looked into this a ton over the years, and of course, it's now I'm at the point where I've purged it all from my brain.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that it used to be at least very similar to, like, what, like, if you asked me what the Unity thing was, I always looked at it like, unless you make a bunch of money, it's free. It was always kind of like the, you know, I don't know the details. I guess it doesn't really matter to me. What, at the end of the day, what's annoying, what's shitty, I think, from them, well, there's a couple of different elements to it. What's shitty is the idea that, like, you sign up for something, you've committed years and years of work to, like, put something out under a certain set of circumstances, and then it'd be one thing if they changed it going forward and not retroactively.
Yeah.
But if they're making it retroactive, well, it's like, now suddenly do I have to write you a check?
For sure.
Like, I don't know. And maybe it is going forward. Maybe, like, there's a world in which all the reporting on this is wrong. And I don't know. I haven't spent any time looking into it, reading the tweets. I've just heard the rumors, seen the headlines, and watched a couple people talk about it in general. So, again, like,
I don't think it's only going forward. Once again, I very much so could be wrong. Like, but I don't, because I've seen some, like, developers from Rust. Obviously, Rust is a very old and very popular game that's made on Unity. And dude, let me
I think like what was that game? The recent game that came out that had like really good Twitch integration, The Cult of the Lamb.
Yep.
I heard the rumor that they were like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Like shutting down.
I heard something about that too. Damn.
Which like I do have to say seems a little wild because it's like before if someone was saying you pay like you make $1 and now they're saying for every $1 you make you got to give us 20 cents. Like that sucks, right? But I'm just thinking about like game developers. It's not like they're manufacturing and they have like these crazy high fixed costs like that go along. You know what I mean? So like if you build a car and it costs you $20,000 to build a car, well then you need to sell it for at least $30,000 to like make whatever money you have back from all of the things. So if suddenly they were like, you sell a car for 30,000, well now you need to give us 24 of it. It's not like they're losing 6,000. It's like they're actually losing money every time they sell something. They're losing money. I don't know how that would work with like a digital game.
Yeah,
because it's now back in the day when they were printing discs, shipping them to GameStop, and that's I don't know. It just seems a little weird that companies would say, "Oh, I'm done now." But sure, you have servers and you have maintenance or whatever, but is that really losing 20% of the gross gonna put you in the red and suddenly make it not worth it? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Is like I don't know. I don't know. All we can really go off is seeing the game developers that make games on Unity. And like, the Cult of the Lamb, I heard something about that where they were like, I don't know if they're like porting the game to another engine or what. I'm trying to figure out making it. I don't want to misrepresent, you know what I mean? So I was trying to find the statement from the Cult of the Lamb to see what they actually said.
It should be said this kind of conversation is a casual conversation amongst two non-professional.
Yeah, for sure.
Like don't take anything we're saying as fact. Don't try to fucking cancel us for our hot takes. Like imagine that you're chilling with your buddy in the fucking basement and you're having this conversation. I'm just talking off the cuff. I don't know exactly. I really don't care all that much. What it seems to me, like there's two more elements to this conversation that I want to bring up.
Yeah.
What this seems to me, every time I have gone looking to, start looking at options for engines for like if I want to make a game or I want to start prototyping or whatever, or you look at all of the games that have been built recently, like Unity is like widely regarded as like it's not a great engine in people's eyes in 2023. I think that there are, more than ever, there are people who are turning to other options like Unreal, especially given how good Unreal looks, how much cool shit they've been coming out with.
Yeah.
All I hear is cool stuff about Unreal. And all I hear is
the perception of Unity is mobile game engine, XYZ. Oh,
okay.
Did I? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you said the perception of Unity is
dude. Your reaction to what I said didn't match, so I looked over and I saw myself frozen, like, and then I was like, oh, okay, something's not right here.
Oh fuck.
Anyways, what were we saying about Unity and their perception?
Yeah. The perception is just not great about Unity. So. For all we know, this is Unity being like, listen, we're not making a lot of money. Nobody wants to use us anymore. We're going to go and do a fucking cash grab before the ship sinks.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And what kind of solidifies that, I thought that before I heard that, like,
and again, this is completely, I'm just throwing kind of what I remember from kind of hearing from kind of a tweet somewhere. Like the CEO or somebody like sold all their shares like a week before all this went down.
Oh, really?
Or something like that. Again, look at the details. I don't remember how much it was, who it was, something like that, where it was like, oh, well, that kind of solidifies that. I feel like they're just kind of giving up. Like,
yeah, that's weird. What I know is that the guy who was the CEO. Okay, what I know, what I think, I don't know anything. What I've heard that the guy that was the CEO of EA during the time where EA brought forth the loot boxes and were like smashing loot boxes into every single one of their games, and every single EA game was like basically just a casino. And for a few years that like EA was, it was like ranked the worst company in the world by like some independent thing, like 2 years in a row. The guy that was CEO during that time is the CEO of Unity right now. And so like, I didn't hear about the dude selling off his shares. But yeah, so I don't know.
Okay, so let me also clarify. I was remembering, and this is what happens when you're like half remembering a rumor that you heard that you weren't really from an unknown source. It's not like a percentage. It's not like 20% or whatever.
Yeah.
It's 20 cents per install.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So even a free game, could potentially owe money.
Yeah. If it's popular.
Yeah, and then of course a bunch of people were talking about, if it's over 200,000, if it's the personal or Unity Plus, if it's Unity Pro or Unity Enterprise, then it's over $1 million.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if anything, it should be like 3% of the sale price or whatever. Like that wouldn't be the most unreasonable thing if it was like your entire game is built on the foundation of a thing. You know, that might be reasonable, but not to change after the fact. Like you can't. Yeah. Is like suddenly. Are they going to be like, you have 1 million installs? Okay, well now you owe us $200,000.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So.
Like then it makes a lot more sense how like, you know, Cult of the Lamb or these other people are like, well now we have to cough up money. Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Established games and game developers that have already decided what they're doing with all their money and where it goes and how they're reinvesting into more content, hiring people to just be like, you are now a Unity $200,000 or something like that can be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, like, take me to court, Unity.
Yeah,
like we had an agreement, and now all of a sudden you're just saying I owe money. Like they can't. Like some part of me is like they can't do that, even if there was like clause 19 subsection B, we can change the terms whenever we want, bitch. That you can't just say that, right?
Yeah,
so like I have a feeling that you're probably gonna have a bunch of people that are gonna say fuck it, we're done, and then a bunch of people that are gonna like, all right, class action lawsuit between a bunch of fucking developers, you know, or whatever. I don't know. We'll have to see.
It's hard because like there's so many people are like you know, making videos, and I'm not judging them, but it's like, you know, the end of Unity's over. Unity just, you know, killed themselves. Unity just signed their own death warrant. And a part of me, just like a cynical part of me, is just like, no, like it's just like another one of the things everyone's going to get mad about. And then it's where there's going to be something else for us to be mad about in 2 days. And the developers are just going to have to get stuck coughing it up, and games are going to cost more as a result. And it's just like nothing. Like, it's just like, that's the doomerism side of me is just like, this guy knows what he's doing. He turned freaking EA into a cash cow. You know, it's just like he's doing it and he knows everyone's going to be mad, and then they're just going to keep doing it. Like, I don't know. I hate it though, but yeah. But the thing is though, the question I got asked 463,272 times today was thoughts on, you know, Tarkov, you know, like it's like, what's going to happen to Tarkov? And I just truly don't know.
Oh yeah.
Once again, it's like, I don't know what the existing contracts were. I don't know how much Tarkov was paying to Unity. I know that they have a really close relationship. I know that there are people at Unity that basically work exclusively with Tarkov to make this game run because it's obviously a super popular game. I'm not saying it's the only or the most popular game on Unity. I would say Rust is probably a bigger game. But it is definitely up there for Unity and one of the larger games on there. So I don't know. I don't know if this is like it's been funny to people. Like, it's funny the amount of people were like, there is no way Tarkov will go 1.0 on Unity now. And I'm like, there's
Well, they have a fucking chance.
yeah, I was like, there's no way Tarkov will be on any other engine before we figure out interstellar travel. Like, there's no, it's taken them 3 years to get from Unity 2020 to Unity 2021. It's 2023 and they're rolling back patches, right? They're not just going to swap over to UE5. You know what I mean? Like, that's
so going
that's not how that works.
Yeah, no, agreed. Totally with you there. Going to the Unity page and just looking at the pricing now, it says like there's a new plan coming, but if you look there, the industry all the way on the right on like the pricing plans, it's like $5,000 a year. So like that's $5,000 a year or 20 cents. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of
yeah.
I mean, that's 25,000 downloads.
Yeah.
20 cents each. So, yeah, I mean, it's just going to be Unity making money and a lot of people owing money.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
so
don't know. It sucks. It seems
shitty. Really awful. It seems scummy. I don't know what the impact on Tarkov is going to be. I don't foresee any noticeable impact to the player, right? Like, Arena's built on Unity, Tarkov's built on Unity. They're not swapping it, you know?
Now, here's the worst part. Let's say Unity goes under. Or, you know, whatever games go under. The worst part is all of the people who built their careers as developers learning Unity that are now like, our skill set is like obsolete.
Yeah.
Or at least a huge foundation of the skill set is obsolete. So yeah, that I bet you that a lot of Unity devs are kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to also talk about something really similar related to this, which is the Starfield modding paywall controversy.
Yeah, what's happening there?
So this to also give you the totally like unofficial, you know, hearsay. There's a mod developer that does a bunch of mods. He has a DLSS mod because it didn't come with DLSS.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't come with DLSS. That's a whole other story. This is all this controversy around like basically Bethesda had deals with NVIDIA's
AMD.
I think AMD to like prioritize their technology and then like Bethesda threw them under the bus and were like, well, it was like they told us we couldn't, and then I think AMD was like, it was never exclusive. It was mostly just like we wanted you to prioritize integrating our thing. That was a whole other hot mess that, again, I don't know the details on, but it just seems kind of like just a bunch of corporate dickbags being corporate dickbags. But it doesn't have DLSS. So a guy made a mod for DLSS, I think 2.0 and like DLSS 3.0. The 3.0 version he had on his Patreon behind a paywall that had DRM in it. So you had to like authenticate. And it was basically like the internet was like, you piece of shit, you know, like,
oh,
you shouldn't be charging for mods. Like, this is a precedent. And I actually, I saw Asmongold's React video and he was really opinionated about it. And I actually disagreed with some of the specific points he was making. A bunch of people were comparing it to like streamers making money and how like, I don't know, it got a little convoluted. But like the way that I look at it is, and I think this is like the minority view, or most people are just like, absolutely not, shouldn't be a thing, can't be a thing. The way I look at it is like, if someone does a bunch of work on anything and there's a demand for it and people want to pay for it, like that's kind of like the free market.
Yeah.
Now if people think it's shitty, then they can like boycott it, and or someone in the modding community would come and do it for free.
Yeah.
Just like the modding and open source community has always been working for free. So like I feel like they could charge and whatever, and then eventually it would, you know, like I can understand the argument where a bunch of like maybe all of the modders would just start charging, and suddenly like modding would be this annoying thing where there's 10 DRMs and 10 mods that you all have to pay for, and how like cumbersome and annoying that would be to an already cumbersome and annoying process for many games at times. So I mean, I can see that being a problem, but at the same time, the whole like, no, nobody should charge. You can't charge for mods. I just there's something about that that's like,
what is the DRM thing? Like, what does that even mean?
I think it stands for like digital rights management.
Like, what does it like practically mean? Does it mean like you can only install?
It's what like prevents you from like copying a PlayStation disc onto like another PlayStation disc.
Oh yeah, so somebody couldn't buy it and then give that mod to all their friends. You know what I mean? Like install it on all of their friends' copies of Starfield. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, which is what you'd have to do if you wanted to charge for something that was a digital download.
Yeah.
Right. It's like we could, you know, DRM our Patreon shit so that like you had to, you know.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, maybe you could argue that we do because we upload it to the Patreon.
To the Patreon feed.
But like we could put it on YouTube as an unlisted video. Then people could just share the links all around. We would never know who did it. You know, that would kind of be shitty, especially to the patrons who are like trying to get this content. But
that's, so that's interesting. I feel like I'm not the greatest person to get an opinion on, because like if you had just 10 minutes ago been like, do you think that some modders charge for their mods? I would have been like, yeah, absolutely. Like I didn't know that was the thing. I thought for sure that some mods cost money. Like I didn't know that. And
usually they have PayPal links for like donations.
Yeah,
like
donate. Okay,
donations.
yeah. And so and then it's also, I guess that if there was like an outcry about that kind of, I guess my thought is like, is this the only guy that can make that mod? Like I'm not saying it's easy. I couldn't make that mod, but if somebody else in the industry make the mod and make it cheaper and or DRM free and or just free, like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure somebody else could do it, and I'm sure they could do it for free, and that's kind of what I was saying. Like, I don't know what, like the people that were talking about it, like I said, Asmongold and a lot of the, obviously the folks in his chat and whatever, it was clear that they were kind of like, this shouldn't be a thing, and it's like, whether it shouldn't or not is one thing, but let's say we determine that it shouldn't. Mm-hmm. Do we then prevent it somehow? Right? Like, it's like the difference between moral and legal.
Yeah.
You know, like
you can't you can't like imprison someone for lying, but lying is obviously wrong. Like,
and like what are they like what could anyone do?
Yeah, it's crazy. Somebody made a DLS. And the guy that put it on his Patreon probably knew that, right? Like he was probably like, okay, I can make some money off this for 3 days, and then someone's gonna make it. You know what I mean?
He probably didn't think that far ahead. He probably thought, I'm gonna make some money off of it, you know, whatever. And you know, people are gonna want it. There's a demand for it. If there's a demand for it, I can make some money from it. And I have expertise that has value and whatever. And
and once again, I'm not saying that all of the anger is unjustified. You know, there's definitely something to be said for just like convention, just for like, hey, we as a community have never done this before, and it's just weird that you're doing it all of a sudden, and we don't know how to think or feel because it's just going to set a precedent. It's like, I'm not saying that every bit of that is unwarranted. Like, you know what I mean? That's an understandable pause to take and be like, whoa, like, is this going to cause some But
Yeah,
but I don't know that. Yeah, I can sit here and be like, I can't believe that guy spent his free time doing something and then charging a little bit of money for it. It's like, that doesn't seem crazy, especially if he gave DLSS 2 away for free and just put 3 behind the Patreon. I don't know.
a lot of the arguments that people were making, you could make about, like, if I charge 99 cents for my app.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're making something that built on top of some other thing,
You're making
and you're
a resource
profiting from it.
Yeah.
And at the same, like, so if I'm gonna take that stance, then I would also I would be hypocritical if I didn't also have the same stance towards something like, now I don't charge for the app, but like, I also don't think it would be bad or that I should get canceled, or that there should be people with pitchforks and torches if I decided that I wanted to.
That's interesting.
So I just don't know, like, so let's just shame the guy. We'll write a bunch of Kotaku articles about how this guy's a piece of shit and
ruining
like whatever.
The world.
And I don't I mean, that's fine. Like, roast the guy, whatever. Like, but I don't know. I just don't know. Like, so let's. Part
of me though is like, if you like it's like a 2-to-1. It has to be a 2-to-1 ratio. If you want to roast the guy. You have to roast Bethesda twice for every time you roast him because they didn't add it into the game. Like, how is this guy more of a war criminal than Bethesda? You know, the $1 billion company who didn't put the feature that they know everybody wants in the game. Like,
yeah. Well, they did it for money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the way that the argument was going was, you know, someone in chat said, "Dude's got to eat though," and then the response is, "Well, you're not entitled to have a living wage doing whatever you want."
Yeah.
And that was like Asmongold's response was like, "You're not entitled to make money doing whatever." And it, but what I felt like wasn't said was, yeah, but he's the original guy. Like, you're arguing against someone else, but the original guy didn't say I'm entitled.
Yeah, he's not demanding a livable wage.
He said,
that's weird.
I did work. If you think there's value in it and you want to pay for it, it's up for sale. In the same way, you could say you're not obligated to use it. Just don't fucking use it. If
that's
you have a
weird.
problem.
That seems like a weird meta, because like the guy who says dude's got to eat, it's like, what if this guy like is totally fine financially and was just of the mind that I put my hard work into this and I should charge whatever I was for it. And if you don't like it, then just don't buy it. And he's like it's weird that it gets reduced down to like, if you don't pay for his mod, this man will starve. And it's like, wait, why are we arguing about it? That's weird. Somebody said in chat too, which is an interesting perspective. Can Bethesda stop
if they gave a fuck,
paid mods? Okay, but I didn't even know. Is that even a thing?
It's the same thing with WoW. It's the same thing with WoW. That Blizzard has explicitly, like, in their terms of service, that you can't charge.
Yeah.
For any of the plugins or the mods or whatever. Now, if they gave a fuck enough and there were people charging, that they could do something.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
If people started charging, nobody would probably do anything about it. Like, I don't know. Again, for all we know, there's history of these people have been charging X amount of dollars for X things for years now, and I don't know.
And I recognize that I'm so outside of that community that there would be frustration that I might view as silly, but is actually very warranted. You know what I mean? Just like somebody would think it'd be ridiculous that I could say I had a stressful day playing video games, when it's like, you have no idea the mental toll that chat can take. You know, sometimes it's like, I can recognize that like, yo, maybe there's convention, maybe there's rules or agreements that were in place that this is breaking. But from a 10,000 foot view, it doesn't seem insane. It doesn't seem like out of control that a man on the internet that made something charges for it, right? Like the thing we do all the time, we pay for apps. I paid $2.99 to Map Genie for a forever license for their Tarkov maps. Like, it's not, that doesn't blow my mind, I guess, from a 10,000 foot view. Maybe there are legitimate arguments or concerns, but like it doesn't blow my mind.
The argument is also charging money for a graphics setting. Okay, well, some people spend $20 for a jacket in a game.
Yeah.
So do you want to like make use of your like $1,000 graphics card and really experience a game with nice detail and quality and whatever? And you know, would that be worth $2 to you? I mean, yeah. Like for a lot of people, yeah. So I don't think that's an argument.
Yeah.
Like it's just a graphics setting. Well, what you're paying for is someone's time and expertise implementing something that you want in a game. If nobody wanted it, nobody would be talking about it. Nobody would care. But clearly it's people that want it, that don't want to pay for it. And then they want to roast this guy for it and whatever. And then it just becomes like it turned from like, I don't know, what could be like an interesting ethical discussion, you know, same thing kind of with open source software and all this stuff, into like, you know, there are just a bunch of drooling, screaming, pitchfork, torch wielding people that are like, who are we going to fucking stab to death next? Like, you know?
And maybe I'm out of pocket for this. Maybe I'm out of touch. I'm off base. I don't know, but it seems crazy. Like, listen, I have not played Starfield, dude. I know I'm gonna get some shade for this. I haven't played Starfield, but after seeing your video, it is crazy to me that like the line is drawn here. Like, if there are thousands of people mad about this, it's just crazy that more people aren't just mad at Bethesda for the state of the game. And like it not including DLSS in the first place, the old engine, the facial animations, the eyes, all that. It's like, why are we making concessions for the $1 billion company? The story gets better later. You know, they're squeezing everything out of this engine. They've only been working on it for 20. Why are we making concessions for the billionaires? And the guy, like, once again, maybe that's out of pocket, but it's crazy. I don't know.
No, trust me, I'm with you, dude. I'm in the fucking Twilight Zone with like the lengths that seemingly the majority. Do I say the majority? No, not the majority. But a massive number of people, you know, at least 20% of the voters on my video, because it's at like 80%, 81% upvotes. You know, 19% of people had to downvote the video because, you know, they're the types that are, you know, IGN Spain 100 out of 100.
Literally nothing in this game is bad. There's not a single.
The graphics are incredible. The best storytelling Bethesda has ever. It's like I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone.
I want to know what they all said about Fallout 76. You know, if they were given 9 out of 10s to Fallout 76, then it's like, oh well. Tells me all I need to know about you. I don't know.
I know it's like Rotten Tomatoes, where the critics are so fucking out of touch with like the whatever plebs, the normal people, their reviews. You know, there's so many movies that the critics will highly rate that everybody else hates, or they'll rate terribly that people like just universally love. Here's my I don't know if we talked about mention this whole thing, but like I see Starfield as like the 9th sequel to like the 14th second character in a Marvel movie. That like people just like, oh, another Marvel movie, fuck yeah, dude, oh god, I'm rock hard for the new, like, you know, Kitten Woman movie or fucking whatever, right? Like, they just love that shit. They eat it up. They'll have whatever it is. Fine, if you don't like it, well then you're a fucking whatever the opposite of Marvel is. DC, you're just a fucking DC fanboy and blah blah blah. And it's like, but the writing is shit. The cinematography is shit. It's just a bunch of like fucking Michael Bay explosion, flying special effects, but like the acting's terrible. Everything about it is bad from a movie perspective. Now Fallout 76 got eaten alive.
Yeah, that's true. That was a game it was trendy to hate. Somebody put something good in chat, which is like, I've been actually thinking about this conceptually a lot recently, but it's just like the whole that like It's basically just what you bring to the table. Like so much of how we think about things was just our preconceived, even subconscious a lot of times. Like they would never buy a DLSS mod, so it's easy to get up in arms about, but they wanted to play Starfield, so it's hard for them to criticize. It's just like what you bring. And I was like, damn, that was a good point. It's like, I've never had to pay for a graphic setting before, so that seems crazy. So like the whole thing down the line is crazy. Now, yes, is that crazy? Yes. Should Bethesda have added it? Yes. But the flip side of that is like it's hard to hear your criticism of Starfield, or it's hard to be negative about it because I wanted to play that. I just like that's what I brought to the table. And it's funny, maybe we'll do like a deep dive of this on like a Patreon episode or something, because I've been thinking about that a lot recently, just in life, with like so many of the things that we believe or think about life is just how we're like where we're brought up or how we're brought up, and then just like what we bring to life as we go out as adults. Just like the stuff we bring subconsciously can affect so much of it. And that was just like, I was like, that's a good point. We're excited to play Starfield, so it's hard to cross the threshold that you crossed. You were excited to play Starfield, but I don't think you think that way. You're a much more open-minded, like if something, you're just like, what the hell? But I think it's a little bit of what we talked about earlier. It's like, people don't like feeling wrong. They don't like being hyped about something and then that be like, you know what I mean? So they dig their heels in and defend. But I think a lot of people have a hard time crossing that line. I was excited about this. And that's basically, it's like, to bring back to the Marvel movie analogy, it's like, that's just being milked. The first few Marvel movies I thoroughly enjoyed because it was like, oh, comics. And then they started to get good. And it was like, oh, dude, like Infinity War, like this stuff is crazy. And then they crossed the line and they're not as good anymore. But I'm really excited about them. And so it's hard for me to cross over from, I've loved these, I'm really excited about them, to like, they're not as good as they used to. And then they started to get worse and worse and worse. And it's like an exploitation of that fact that like, I was excited about it. It's weird to be less excited about it now because I used to love that. And I don't want to cross that line into saying I hate it now.
You don't want to agree with the people you've been disagreeing with when they were epic and they were just haters, and you saw like all the people hating are hating for stupid reasons, like it's pronouns and whatever.
Yeah.
And
it's like people understand nuance so deeply into their subconscious, but not externally. It's like nobody would ever think this, but they subconsciously deep down, they think that. They say, when the Marvel movies were great and everybody hated on them, I had all the reasons and they were good, but now they're not as good. And if I say they're not as good, I'm lumped into the people or conceding that that's right. And they understand that there's nuance to the fact that no, they used to be good and now they're not. And I could defend that. But that all happens so deep in here and there's no way to externalize it. So it's just a digging our heels in. I'm going to go see every movie. I'm going to buy every ticket. I'm going to do all this, which then weirdly tells the studios, well, why are we paying all this for writers and directors? They can be worse quality and people will see them. That happens with games too. And then we get games like Starfield. So it's just fascinating.
I'm looking at this. I want this to be a new segment. We need to read like hot take reviews. Now Fallout 76 I heard has gotten significantly better, just like No Man's Sky and a few other games.
Yeah, I've heard that too about Fallout 76.
The other one, Cyberpunk, I heard is like actually really good. A bunch of people who got into Starfield that were like, this game is trash, went back and started to play Cyberpunk and were like, Cyberpunk's actually way more fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 review for Fallout 76. I have played over 2,000 hours and I love the game. Reason is live service online team with players play on public events. Visiting players' camps, storyline and side quests are good. Able to turn PvP off in settings. Activities are always keep going and never ending in infinite fun. Infinite fun.
Activities are always keep going.
I have a feeling this person might be like Indian. I don't know if English is their primary language, so I don't want to go too harsh on it. But I love the emotes. I have noticed that a lot of people giving negative reviews. They are misunderstanding about this game. Yes, this game does have microtransaction, but so does Fallout 4 Creation Club, and it's just optional.
No point to complain about having nice and cool cosmetic stuffs from Atomic Shop. Atomic stuffs are carried over on each new character on the same account. Are the pro. When I see all the negative reviews are laughable to me. I played over 2,000 hours, and the game is the best game I ever play. I love how camp's set up anywhere I want around Appalachia. I love this game, man. Thank you, Bethesda, for making this game and all the updates and patches. 10 out of 10. Would play again.
I've heard it's come a long way.
Yeah, I heard it's come a long way too. And actually, to be fair, that is from July of 2023. So
that's recent.
It's probably not totally unreasonable. I guess that wasn't even. Now I feel bad because that wasn't even like a roast. That was. At first, I thought it was just an idiot, but it's just a guy. It's just a guy who's
it's
English.
Just a guy who doesn't speak
language.
English that legitimately loves Fallout, and you just
listen. Biohazard Evil with a 3. I apologize. You're fine. Your review is fine. Now, when you look at all of the critic reviews, it's the first one, Impulse Gamer, 92, and then 76. Wow. Okay, wait. That has to be like a thematic choice of number there. Like give Fallout 76 a 76 out of 100.
Yeah.
But like there's nothing in between 92 and 76.
Yeah.
Whereas like Starfield was like 100, 99, 99, 98, 97. Impulse game. This was, this is a critical review. If you are more of a single player gamer like me, don't let the online nature of Fallout 76 put you off. It's eminently playable as a single player experience. Yeah, you just like unplug your fucking router. If you are put off by the issues mentioned at the start, then maybe steer clear or wait to see if the patches address your concerns. Otherwise, I'd say grab the Death Claw by the horns and jump in. But maybe wait till you have power armor to do that. That's a review.
That's a review,
92. Man. Maybe the game isn't for you. Here's a dad joke at the end. 92 out of 100. Thanks, Impulse Gamer.
It's maybe the game isn't for you. If you don't like all the horrible things about it, maybe pass on it. But if those terrible things don't bother you, you should play it. 92 out of 100.
This guy, he wrote 34% of the dialogue in Starfield. I'm fully convinced. Because that's the other thing that I never mentioned is that everything is a fucking corny dad joke.
Yeah.
That even the player. Okay, last thing, and then I'm done with this forever. Bro, Starfield, it knows that it's annoying and wastes your time. Because half of the dialogue options that you have are, can you get to the fucking point? What's the point of this? You're wasting my time.
Damn.
Even the game itself knows that it's fucking wasting your time.
Damn.
When half the time it's like, I'm bored.
Yeah, half of the dialogue options are like, can we skip this, please?
Yeah, unironically, it knows it's fucking bad. I just had to throw that out there because I just remembered. And I just put out a video today that was like part 1. And it's like, I was going to make one video. And then I realized I have like 252 clips of embarrassingly bad stuff. And I went through like 40 of them. So it's going to be like a 9-part series on my like the next 15 hours of playing.
Uh-huh.
So get ready because it's just a meme montage of broken bullshit.
Damn.
and just me like this. And I'm actually probably going to make a thumbnail one of these days. It's going to be like this with my head like this.
Yep.
Oh, and last thing on the fucking, we were talking about like the clickbait titles, right?
Oh yeah.
It's not a coincidence that if you look at the curve for my video, it's like this and it flattened out within 2 hours of me changing my title from whether you like it or not. As soon as I changed it to like LOL relax, it started to like flatten out. And then I got rid of it altogether, and then it started to go back up a little bit again. Like now it's on like a very slow incline.
Yeah.
So like literally the provocative in the parentheses is like the skyrocket.
Yeah.
I won't be turned. Sorry. I won't be told again. I won't be told again about like your fucking lose respect clickbait titles when like literally I removed the thing that everybody like people were saltier about the whether you like it or not than they were about me saying it was a bad game.
Yep.
And I change it and it's like
but they clicked because of it. Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Woof. Woof indeed. Well,
that's the stuff.
That's the stuff. Hostess. Boom. Boom. The kid's dead. Wait, what was the thing from the
kid's dead.
Rack
man. Rack ball.
Anyways, that is the news. Not a whole lot of Tarkov stuff. A lot of other interesting things. The Starfield Modding continues, which I have found to be quite hilarious. I need to watch the video because I watched the video. I need to watch the one you posted today because I found the footage in the original video to be hilarious. So
I enjoy, like, honestly, I unironically enjoy how bad it is. It's so sad that people see that as like, why are you so fucking negative? Stop complaining.
Yeah.
Stop whining. It's like, bro, I'm disappointed in the money I spent. I'm getting my enjoyment out of it. You're the one complaining. You can fuck off. I'm making lemonade from these lemons.
yeah.
And all you are is a sourpuss.
Yeah. Boom.
There was that was a
Roasted.
meme in there.
I don't know that meme has ever come after the phrase "you're a sourpuss," but
You're a sourpuss.
first time.
Oh,
There's a
shit.
first time for everything. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging. Thanks for being a part. Thank you again to HelloFresh for sponsoring the episode. And friendly reminder, if you like this content and want more of it, patreon.com/thepogcastpod, where we mauled and rant about all sorts of other things. It's kind of wonderful. Thank you guys so much for hanging. Thank you for the support. This will be on all of the platforms on Monday if you missed a part of it. Thank you guys for hanging, and we will definitely see y'all on the next one. Peace.